Hi. So I want to talk a little bit about the disappearance of friends when living with cancer and or the recurrence of them. Because when I was first diagnosed, I lost a friend who I thought, well, I loved her. I really, really loved her. And I was supposed to officiate her wedding. I mean, that we had gone traveling together. It was a beautiful relationship, I thought. And then I was diagnosed, and I know she was in on a conversation. It was a text conversation, and she said something about Messenger not working, so she wasn't getting everyone's messages. Not sure how much I believe that, because other people called her specifically and told her what my news was, and she just disappeared. I never heard from her again. Not once. Not once. And so that devastated me for a good 2 years. I was really hurt for several months, and then I was just really mad. So since then, I've gained a little bit of perspective on why that might be. And I think it's good to talk about, because I've become that person to other people now. And I know why I became that. And I kind of want to talk a little bit about it, so that if it happens to one of you and you're struggling with people just disappearing, or, as I'll talk about later, reappearing, it's a very traumatizing scenario, but I also think it's something that is understandable when you understand the reasons why, if you ever find out what they are. So for me now, my chemotherapy experience was horrible, and I shared that with you guys. I do just want to add, because I never said this before, not everybody's chemo experience is like mine. I will break out and have my entire face swell up at the hint of formaldehyde in a face cream. My body is so sensitive to every chemical that chemotherapy just destroyed everything about me physically, broke me down beyond almost living at some points. So that's not always the case. So please don't judge. If you ever end up in my position, please don't judge what treatment you're going to use based on my experience. The only way to know what's going to work for you is to go through it, and you make your choices with the help of your doctors. Don't read all the stuff online. There are a lot of really awful things being shared that are not proven. So anyway, my point, when I went through chemotherapy, my medical trauma was so significant that it's really almost physically nauseating for me to talk with someone else about their experience now. I can't take it in and internalize, and I'm such an empath that I literally I shut down. And I have a very dear friend who, same day as me, got re-diagnosed, December 6th of 2023. And he would tell me about, this med was doing this, and this doctor said this, and this was his experience. And I wanted to crawl out of my skin. I couldn't do it. I had to have my husband take the calls, because I just couldn't. I wanted to be there for him, but I internalized it so much that it was like it was happening to me. And so, I find myself shying away mostly from, aside from the videos I've shared with you, because I do those on my terms, and I can stop anytime I want. I don't feel like I have to be in that position where now I'm scared, not only for me, but for somebody else, right? So this is different. But yesterday I was out photographing sea lions, and a fellow stage 4 cancer person who I just met the day before, standing on the same bank, taking pictures of the same animals. He had heard from another friend about my situation, and the entire conversation became that. I'm standing on that shore, living this life so that I don't have to think about cancer. I didn't want to be standing there looking at sea lions and these beautiful gulls circling all around me and talking about cancer. I was just so like, again, physically like, I can't do this. And I sidestepped away from him. And I didn't even realize I was doing it until after I'd already done it. And so I went back and, talked with him a little bit more, tried to buck up. I have a family member just was diagnosed. Another cousin called and asked if I can help her through it. I can't. And with all the nightmare that was going on with our house, we're almost getting out of this financial pickle we've been in. There's just been a lot. And so for me to carry the torch of helping someone else is really hard. And yet at the same time, I just saw somebody I haven't seen in a long time. And I feel like it's also a similar situation with her. Like, I feel like I don't want to be that reminder of what she could possibly face. So I have not been sharing a lot in that direction. Then you just have to feel it out. You have to figure out what people are comfortable with and what they're not, including yourself. So, the last part of this is I just got an email from somebody that I used to be a flight attendant with back in 1997 to 2001. We used to write each other emails all the time. We flew together when we could be staff together. I just got a note from him. Hi, Eric. Lovely to hear back. And yet, and this is not a criticism, I hate that it was cancer that brought us back to being friendly. And, there are gifts in cancer, there are curses in cancer. There will be people who stay, there will be people who go, there will be people who come, fresh start, knowing full well what they're getting into, being your friend, and knowing that there's heartache at the end. I have a glorious friend that lives down the road from me who just lost her mom, doesn't care, still here for me. People do what they can. And I don't know, I think it's just good to know that it's not usually personal. Not in the sense that they're doing it to hurt you. They're doing it to protect themselves. So those are just some thoughts. And if you are in the position where you're the one being neglected, just know it's probably because the person, they just can't take it on. Their heart will break too hard, or they think it will. And maybe the idea is just to give them a little grace and find someone who can be there with you and for you. We all need connection. But I think it's important to look for love in the right places and not expect it to be in the places where it can't exist. And that's okay. So, heavy topic. And on that note, I will see you next time.